The billionaire class should be afraid of the power of labor and everyday workers across the country. That they should respect our way of life and our rights to be able to have dignified wages, benefits, and civil rights for every American. We should never underestimate the power of organizing right now in this moment. They are getting nervous, New York. As I was walking up to this stage, we found out that they have suspended next week's Medicaid cuts because they're getting too scared. But one thing that we want to make sure that we do is that we stay on them because we have an assignment right here at home. Nicole Malliotakis of Brooklyn wants to vote for these Medicaid cuts. Mike Lawler of Westchester County wants to vote for these Medicaid cuts. Congressman Lalota wants to vote for these Medicaid cuts right here in New York. So we know that our assignment now is that they get a strong message. They vote for this, they're gone next year. I believe in you, I believe in us. Let's go win the class war.
Welcome to Nora Christine Live. Today, we're going to talk about AOC. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. And there's lots to say about AOC. How about the New York Times came out with an article that said AOC is nowhere to be found. And she's too busy jet setting around the country, running for president. Oh, wait, she's not officially running yet. She's riling up the Democrats to say what a terrible job Trump is doing. So we're going to break this down today. That first video I played to you, I don't know how else to label it, but propaganda. It's AOC's propaganda saying she's going to help the poor. We're going to keep the rich accountable. But what's so funny, and we're going to talk about this in the article, the rich is who mainly backs AOC. Oh, y'all didn't know that? And also, she's gotten richer since being a congresswoman. I think she's one of the richest. But nevertheless, we're going to break that down today. Bombshell article came out May 10th over the weekend. Fed up AOC constituents in Bronx, Queens mock absentee rock star who's never in this district. This woman has done nothing. Verbatim. That's what they're saying. They're saying they're frustrated. They've reached a breaking point on her home turf. They're fed up. They told New York Post they're sick and tired of being second fiddle to the jet-setting socialists. Excuse me. She's not a socialite. I mean, she should be because she's jet-setting, but she's a socialist. Primary focus, which is herself. Get this. Her district offices in the Bronx and Queens offer little to justify the $1.9 million the congresswoman gets to run them. She is only open a single weekday, and the other is closed on Fridays with phones that go unanswered and constituents urged to discuss their problems by appointment only. Let me know, guys, in the chat if that's normal. I don't think it is. I think she should be open at least Monday through Friday at the very least. But I definitely want to know your thoughts. Is that normal? I mean, is that a normal thing to do? Also, guys, for those watching, I am going to be taking calls. So if you want to give me a call, 407-602 8114. We are taking calls. I'm willing, to talk to everyone. I know over the weekend, for those watching on X, got some people pretty angry because of something I tweeted on another conservative's page. We'll talk about that at the end of the call. But yeah, 407-602-8114. If you want to speak to me, I am taking calls. I'm happy to speak with you. Let's talk it out. Let's talk through it. I know some people are pretty angry with me, but I'm pretty clear on where I stand, America first. And I'll explain at the end what the tweet was that riled people up. But sticking to AOC for now, if you are watching, hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Your support really does help. I'm going to play this clip. For a recent town hall, they were pretty riled up and angry at AOC. Let me play this clip from 6 days ago.
Voted down by a protester during her return to her home district. Listen.
I'm a healthcare worker, and I want to know what you're doing about the genocide in Gaza. You want to war? Please wait to the Q&A.
Jason Chaffetz is joining me now, and you're here for the whole. What does this say about Democrats that a woman on the left, is shouted down by radicals even further? How are they ever going to attract moderates, let alone independents?
No, that's the bigger point. But AOC, she practices and preaches resistance. She wants people to be shouted down. Then she goes to her own town hall meeting. She gets shouted down and she acts like, well, can't we get in order and just wait for Q&A? That's not what she preaches. But the bigger point is, there are so many in the Democratic Party. It's just unrecognizable. It's just not tenable. They just can't relate to it. They don't want to be a participant in it. And it's scaring away a lot of people.
The bottom line, we have to remember, the biggest voting bloc is not the Democrats or the Republicans. It's the independents. Most of the independents consider themselves to be moderates. They are not even trying to reach the moderates.
They're not even welcome at this.
All right. Next one for you, Jason. It's kind of related. Elon Musk explaining why he left the Democrat Party.
So as you guys can see here, they're not even trying to reach the moderates. I mean, this tour that her and socialist Bernie Sanders went on is so left-leaning, guys. I mean, I don't know if the Democrats want to continue losing. Like, what is the future? Their whole thing that they're attacking is the rich. But I don't think they realize that by doing that, you're attacking all of our 401ks. If you have a 401k, according to these people, you're rich. So, I mean, I think it's a poor take. Actually, the leadership, I'm going to play this clip. This is a strategist. He doesn't seem pretty happy. Let's see what he has to say about her. He wants her out of his party.
Honestly, start your own movement. All right, let's do the simple math. Probably 69%, I don't know, we could call Jim Gerstein or Jeff Garrett. Roughly 69% of the people going to vote in November, maybe more. Let's do 70 for just round math, are going to be white. Of that, 48%. Maybe a little more are going to be male. So that's roughly, let's just call it 33 1/3% of the entire election. Well, let's just run against them because that's so goddamn smart. All right. So now we're going to have a campaign by the progressive left against white men who vote about 1/3 of everybody that votes in an election. Why don't you, lady, start your own party? And then when it's over, if you want to caucus with the Democrats, fine. We agree with a lot of things that you do, but we don't believe we ought to be running against white men. In fact, we don't think we ought to be running against any gender, any ethnic group, any race, any religion, or anything else. God damn, these people are just helpless. They cannot be helped. There's nothing you can do to help them. They don't want to be helped. And if they had any guts, they'd start their own goddamn political party and get out of ours. I'm sorry.
Damn, he's like, I want y'all out. He doesn't even say, let's find a way to re-strategize. Let's meet in the middle. He's like, I want you out. And this is a lifelong Democratic strategist. He's world famous. Him is saying this is big, guys. But going back to AOC, it's so bad. So we talked about how her office is only open one day a week. She took $1.9 million to run it. Appointments only, but no one can seem to get through. Her town halls used to be monthly events. Now we are told they're only held once a blue moon. There's virtually no way to get a question in. She only takes 6 questions from what I'm hearing. And sometimes she only phones in and doesn't bother coming in person. This woman has done nothing for the community. She was once again elected to serve. Why y'all keep electing her? I'm gonna speak to Queens. You Queens residents, why do you keep electing her? Give someone else a chance. I understand. Maybe you don't want a Republican, but when she goes in, can anyone primary against her and you guys stand up and get her out? I mean, come on, guys. Like, I mean, she's clearly speaking out both sides of her mouth. I'm going to play this clip where, you know, genuinely or typically the left sided with Gaza, but they feel like, you know, she's not doing enough. Let me play this clip of what this heckler said to her and let's watch.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got a lesson in that at a town hall in Queens, New York. The gathering spiraled into a shouting match with attendees yelling both at the Congresswoman and at each other as several crowd members took issue with AOC's stances on immigration and funding for Ukraine. It escalated through what was supposed to be a question and answer session.
$100 billion for Ukraine that you voted for.
The most vocal critics were led away by security. Afterward, Ocasio-Cortez tweeted she was grateful for a great crowd and the opportunity to answer questions, adding a smiley face emoji.
So yeah, you guys saw the clip. We see the yelling, we see the anger, we see she's not able to handle it. We say she's running away from her constituents. Why do you guys keep electing her in? Like, I really don't get it. And I want to know. And we're going to talk about more things that she was involved with. So yeah, at that recent town hall I showed you, she only took 6 questions. The public meeting had already been postponed because they said she came back sick when she went on the Fighting the Oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders. Of course, it's canceled. One constituent said. Too busy jet setting around on private jets, screaming about oligarchs and setting up her bid for a POTUS run. This woman has done nothing for the community. She once again elected to serve. Okay. It's hard to find a private plane. It's Easter weekend, mocked Jackson Heights resident, the cancel event. She is too big for us. Elmhurst Ramses Frias, a Republican city council candidate, called Ocasio-Cortez an absentee landlord, disconnected from the reality of her working class constituents. She's flying around on private jets, talking about the oligarchy. She's a rock star. On matters big and small, critics in her district, which include Astoria and Jackson Heights in Queens and the South Bronx, said AOC is failing the people that put her in office. She has done little on a controversial $8 billion casino proposal by Mets owner Steve Cohen on Parkland in Citi Field, which opponents fear will become a blight on the community. At the town hall, all AOC could do was shrug off the concerns. Yeah, because she doesn't care. The Citi Field Park has been redistricted out of my district, she said. I have respectfully made my position on this known to folks who are weighing in on it. I don't really have anything to do on that besides making my position known. But critics said she will pounce on an issue that suits her, even if it is nowhere near her district. And this was proven in 2021. Like, let's not even talk about district, not even in her state. Let's watch this clip, guys, and remind you of when she went and raised $3 million for Texas. Let's watch.
KPRC2's Taisha Walker reports on the New York Congresswoman who spearheaded that movement.
We always kind of make fun of New York, but this time we love New York.
Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia of Texas and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, joined by Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, came together this morning at the Houston Food Bank to lend a helping hand and share their plan to help Texans impacted by the winter storm. Representative Ocasio-Cortez raised the first $1 million in relief money in 4 hours earlier this week.
Last night, they're at $3.2 million. Now, that's pretty big, even for Texas sizes.
The New York Congresswoman says 100% of that $3.2 million will be split amongst 5 to 10 organizations. The Houston Food Bank is one of them. The chosen organizations provide food support, elder care, and shelter assistance.
When you have a disaster like this, it can just set people back for years, not just for days.
The Congresswomen say their work doesn't stop here today in Texas. They say they plan to continue fighting for Texans when they return to Washington, including launching a transparent investigation to figure out what went wrong.
Will need to be reforms at ERCOT, and I urge the legislature to do that. And they should include looking at whether or not to join the federal.
All right, guys. So I honestly think the worst part about all of this is the fact that Hurricane Ida hit her district, and they're saying in the article that she did nothing to help them. She did little to assist them when they were slammed by Hurricane Ida and still dealing with the pandemic. That is so sad, guys. A hurricane is such hard. I'm from Florida. It's a very hard thing. And, they're not used to hurricanes the way we are. So that's unfortunate. They said she paid lip service after the Trump admin last month announced it was canceling $200 million in grants for climate-friendly cloudburst projects that help absorb heavy rains, according to critics. Some of the projects were slated for parts of flooding plagued parts of Queens. So basically, she didn't help with that. But in March, she loudly advocated for Columbia University graduate student Mahmoud Khalil, who is not her constituent after the anti-Israel activist was arrested and detained. Mahmoud was a Columbia student, but her office has been able to take the lead on the case for the New York delegation, who's not in her district, to be clear. I think that's interesting because she hasn't really taken a strong position when it comes to the Gaza, aid to Gaza. In fact, she's actually also went and proved funding for Israel. So she talks out of both sides of her mouth. And this is my issue with the Democrats. They ride the fence. There's no clear position. It's whatever they change with the wind. Okay. It really is frustrating, guys. It very much is. She's not doing anything in her local district. Last thing that really pissed these people off was she killed the Amazon deal. Okay. Let me play this clip. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but she killed the Amazon deal, guys. This was a big, big thing when she did this. Let's watch.
The move was projected to bring 25,000 jobs to the state. When the company announced in November 2018 its plans to build a campus in the Long Island City neighborhood of Queens, some elected officials hailed it as a historic deal.
This is a big money maker for us. Costs us nothing. Nada, niente, goose egg. We make money doing this.
For the borough of Queens, unquestionably, this sends a signal that Queens is now ever more important economic center. That's going to benefit New Yorkers of all backgrounds.
But others were quick to object. Freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, State Senator Michael Gianaris, and Deputy Leader of the City Council James G. Van Bramer were vocal opponents of Amazon moving into the area. The average Amazon employee would be paid an average salary of at least $150,000 a year. And politicians complained that the influx of these employees would cause housing prices to skyrocket, drive out low-income residents, and worsen congestion on the subway and streets.
I spoke out on this issue to begin with is because organizers and residents of my community were busting down our doors saying, you need to say something about this because we are threatened with homelessness, we're threatened with rising rents. We have seen this happen in San Francisco and Seattle.
Is it jobs at any cost and at all cost? The truth is that we don't need to engage in these kind of pyramid schemes and competitions. We don't need to throw $3 billion at Amazon.
The community around Long Island City is home to legions of grassroots organizations that were already unhappy about gentrification. Amazon founder and chief executive Jeffrey P. Bezos also owns the Washington Post. The company said it would continue with plans to put at least 25,000 jobs in Northern Virginia and 5,000 in Nashville.
Everyday Americans still have the power to organize and fight for their communities, and they can have more say in this.
Okay, y'all. So she basically passed up a good deal with Amazon. Also, going back to her office, something I read that was really interesting. She has 2 district offices. One in Astoria is only open 1 day a week and is shared with Queens Councilwoman Tiffany Caban. Typically, Caban's workers are forced to take in-person messages left for AOC because the congresswoman isn't regularly staffing the office. So she gets $1.9 million and she doesn't even, what is she doing with the money? It's not even being staffed. Her main office in the Bronx is closed Fridays and shuttered for long lunch breaks for the other 4 days. When the post-paid visit, a Spanish-speaking constituent who was seeking help on immigration matter had to wait outside the office for about 30 minutes until 1 p.m. before she was allowed to answer. Phone calls usually go unanswered, leaving the staff with no way to contact her staff unless they show up in person. And when they do, they're met by an intimidating sign at the door, by appointment only or surveillance camera and iPad check-in in the Bronx, where they have to give personal information before they can talk to a worker on issues. She has spent at least $101,000 in campaign funds on flights across the U.S. in the past year, the Federal Election Commission's records show. She spent 3 days in March and 5 days in April with Sanders on the national oligarchy tour. Many believe she's eyeing the White House. She took in $9.6 million in campaign donations during her first quarter of the year, shattering her own personal record and fueling rumors of a White House run. So, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the chat. Do you think AOC is nowhere to be found? Do you think that this is hyperbole? Do you think this is accurate? I mean, pretty much we do see her touring worldwide or countrywide, so I don't think it's unrealistic, guys. But yeah, so that really stood out to me, that article. I just had to touch on it. I had to give you guys a little history on AOC because, I mean, really and truly, to me, she's a scam artist. To me, she's scamming her constituents. I feel so bad for those people, but again, I don't, because I'm like, why do you keep voting for her? I mean, I would rather, me personally, I identify as a independent. The only title I ever want is to be called a Christian. So for me, I'm not loyal to any party, but at this point, the Democrats are so screwed up. I don't understand how anybody continues to be loyal to them. I really don't. I mean, I don't understand, why would you continue to be loyal to a party that's not loyal to you? They're not doing anything for everyday people that's really impactful. So switching gears here, I also, for me, I identify as America First, and some people, they say that they are, but they show you they're not. Let me show you by what I mean by this. So I've gotten killed, guys, by a tweet that I made. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right here. 1 second, guys. So Laverne Spicer, who is a Black Republican, tweeted out May 11th. Okay. And I'm gonna read the tweet, and then I'll tell you my thought process to why I responded with what I did. Obama gay bleep brought in over 70,000 migrants from Somalia. He then put them in Elon Omar's SA district. Now that running some kind of effed up ethno state within our own mother effing country. And many of the mother effers living there are confirmed Islamic terrorists. And that heifer is the goddamn queen of it all. Don't y'all think that's something Speaker Mike and DOG should want to address ASAP? So a lot of things that the right wing, the woke right, or whatever you want to call it, have been speaking on and have been upset about is the issue with Islamophobia, or Islamics taking over the country. In Texas, I don't know if you guys know, but they have been building large mosques. Okay. And so, basically people feel like the biggest threat to our country is the growing mosques, the growing Muslims in our country. Okay. All right. I get that. But my thing is, why today in particular, May 11th, when I'm going to play this clip in 2 days or sometime this week, early this week, we have a group of South Africans, white South Africans, coming here, leaving their country to come take up residence here. To me, this is to distract us from what the Trump administration's doing. Again, as I stated to you guys, I have no loyalty other than being a Christian. I believe, and my other loyalty, Christian first, America first, second. Okay. I believe in putting Americans' interests above anyone else, race, religion, anything like that. Okay. Because in the Constitution, we talk about having rights as Americans. Okay. So my thing is, this is not a racial issue to me with what I wrote. And I'm going to explain why I wrote what I wrote. So in my response, I said, and Trump brought in 300 racists from South Africa that are fleeing from their country. Who told me to say that? These people are going psycho on me, okay? And my thing is, I thought we voted in Trump to be America first, to cut down on immigration. So now we've replaced immigration with selective immigration. Instead of mass deportation, we're doing selective immigration. Cool. If that's what you guys voted for, great. But that's not what I personally voted for. And so this is why I'm calling it out. I think Laverne is great, so it's nothing personal against her. But I do think it is a distraction from what we need to be doing as a country. It's a distraction to the fact that Trump has these secretly bringing in these South Africans. Mind you, it's only 54 coming in this week, but 70,000 have applied. So also he basically allowed these people to skip the line. And I'm going to play this clip that explains it. Let me play this clip here. It explains it. I want to tell you my other concern after we play this clip and why I don't think that this is very America first. Here we go.
To bring the first group of white South Africans to the United States via its refugee program as soon as next week. 3 people familiar with the matter have said. It's a divisive move.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Especially given that Trump has been blocking refugee admissions from the rest of the world. 2 of the sources, who requested anonymity as they were sharing internal plans, said their aim is to fly the initial cohort of around 50 Afrikaners into Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia.
It was like an answered prayer.
Life coach Katia Beeden is administrator of a website that seeks to help white South Africans take up Trump's offer.
We've been forgotten. It's very hard for us to travel. It's very hard for us to get visas. So to suddenly hear that a country like the United States is offering us refugee status was a really big deal. And I was so excited. I felt so relieved. It just felt like a lifeline.
In February, Trump issued an executive order that called for the US to resettle Afrikaner refugees. It said Afrikaners, who are descendants of mostly Dutch early settlers, were victims of unjust racial discrimination. The assertion that minority white South Africans face discrimination from the black majority has spread in far-right circles for years and been echoed by Trump's white South African-born ally, Elon Musk.
I guess the key issue just to highlight is that none of this is actually true.
Political analyst TK Poe says the refugee scheme has created a false narrative that South Africa is a country going through some civil war.
And then secondly, within the internal borders of South Africa, it really has created a lot of division. It's almost as though President Trump has gone out of his way to sow internal divisions.
Violence against white farmers and a law allowing for the expropriation and redistribution of land are often cited as evidence of anti-white discrimination in South Africa. However, out of 26,000 murders in South Africa last year, just 44 were linked to farming communities, according to police statistics. Crime researchers say the overwhelming majority of murder victims are black. In addition, 3/4 of private land in South Africa is white-owned and not a single expropriation has taken place. South Africa's government has criticized Trump's program, saying that it fails to recognize South Africa's history of colonialism and apartheid. It added that it's ironic that refugee status is being offered to people from the most economically privileged part of South African society. The average white household owns 20 times the wealth of the average black household, according to international academic journal The Review of Political Economy. Official data shows unemployment rates are far higher among black citizens.
As long as it's not here, you can go anywhere you want.
Trump's order also came after he'd suspended all U.S. refugee admissions, citing security and cost concerns. Thousands of Afghans, Congolese, and others fleeing conflict were blocked even after they'd been
All right, guys. So I know we don't believe the media on the right on a lot of things. Okay, I get that. I understand why you feel that way. But the BBC reports that a South African court has dismissed claims of a white genocide in the country as clearly imagined and not real. As you guys can see by those numbers, I don't know, maybe they're making them up. According to the numbers, less than 1% of whites have been killed. Or less than 1% of farming related incidents have happened. And I'm sure like less than 10% of them have been whites killed or murdered at all in the country. So I'm not seeing proof of this mass genocide that the people that went crazy on me in the chat said. Like they went loony, okay? In the chat, the responses that I saw was, well, these are whites that as Christians we should support and we should save. But in the Bible, does it mention selective immigration, selective people to save? I mean, the thing is this, people are waiting their turn for these people to come and their lives are not at risk. There are people, truly, Syria, if you guys want to talk Christians in Syria are literally actively being genocided. And I don't see us bringing them here. So my thing is, this to me is racist. Not only that, it's going to hurt our farmers, guys. I don't think you understand that. Let me read to you these quotes, guys. It's going to hurt our farmers. Our farmers struggling. Yes, many American farmers are struggling financially, facing declining profits, rising debt, and persistent losses. Factors contributed are the cost of things. So they're already struggling with just the American farmers here. Why would we want to bring more farmers here? And I'm going to tell y'all this. Somebody said, oh, well, they're going to take those jobs. Bro, they're not going to take the jobs of the current farms. They're not going to go from making six figures to making like $10, $20 an hour working for someone else's farm. If you guys think that, you're delusional. These people are coming here. They're the richest people in the country coming here. They're going to take over and more of our farmers are going to suffer. Therefore, Americans are suffering. That's why I said this is not America first, okay? This is not America first. Once we have the mass deportation, y'all want to bring them in, fine, whatever. Once we're helping our American farmers, you want to bring them in, great. Bring them in. I don't care what race that you bring in. You want to bring them in. It makes you feel good to know that they're whites. Good for you. But at the same time, you're hurting American farmers by doing this. You're hurting American farmers by supporting this. I don't get why that's a complicated thing. But what I think it is, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, some people are so blinded with hatred that as long as they're hearing more whites are coming over here, that's great for them. And one thing about me, guys, and in talking about this with people say, well, she's probably playing to her base. What's wild to me is they were writing these racist things on a Black content creator's page. And what's even more wild to me is she probably was fine with it. I'm going to tell you something about me. I don't care about likes. I don't care about follows. I don't care about views. I care about putting the truth out there. And if you want to be a part of the truth and come support me, great. So be it. We could be a part of this. You could be a part of my fan base, but I'm not going to play to my base ever. Ever, ever, ever. The only thing I ever want to play to is the truth of Jesus Christ and putting out actual facts out here that help Americans, that make Americans better. This is not going to make Americans better, guys. And honestly, you guys are supporting something that's really going to hurt American jobs. The other thing that they love to say is that the South Africans coming here, they were there longer than the actual. They were there longer than I can't even say this with a straight face. They were there longer than the actual Africans that are ethnically African. I'm going to teach you guys a little history because I feel like we need a history lesson, okay? They're called the Boers. They're descendants of the Proto-Afrikaans speaking free burghers of the Eastern Cape frontier in Southern Africa. They came during the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. Africa goes back to the start of time. How are they there longer? You guys tell me. I want to know. From 1652 to 1795, the Dutch East India Company controlled the Dutch Cape Colony, which the United Kingdom incorporated into the British Empire in 1806. The name of the group is derived from Trek Boer, then later Boer, which means farmer in Dutch and Afrikaans. So my argument that I said to them this, great, you guys want to help these people? Why don't you advocate for Dutch, Germany, and Britain to take them back? You should advocate for that instead of advocating for them to come here when we have our own issues. They should go back to Europe, in my opinion. That's ethnically where they are. I get it. They want to leave. They feel like it's unsafe because finally, I'm so against colonialism, guys, but finally the Africans have decided to take over and kick them out. Do I think it's right? No, not necessarily, because that would be like kind of contradictory to my own personal interests, because it would almost be like saying I would agree with the Native Americans to kick us out. So I can't support something like that, obviously. But at the same time, I get it. They want their country back. They're taking their country back. Sound familiar? This is the hypocritical thing too. They're taking their country back. Oh, but it's okay when we, as a predominantly white nation, want to take our country back. But it's not okay for them, because they're Black and African, to take their country back. This is the contradictoriness of a lot of Americans in this country in general. The left does it the most, but the right, you guys are starting to be guilty of it too. I'm starting to see the hypocrisy. They're taking their country back. They're kicking these people out. So what? We should take them in? I thought we didn't want to help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not opposed to helping people, but I'm for people waiting their turn and us helping the people that have been waiting, i.e. the Syrians, the Christian Syrians who are waiting their turn to come here because they're being slaughtered by the terrorists that we've allowed to take over their country, in so many words, that we've supported taking over their country. So I just don't agree with hypocrisy. I think that, it's very unfortunate what's happening there. But to give you guys facts about what's about to go down, because this affects Americans, is the U.S. government has officially granted 54 Afrikaans, white descendants of mainly Dutch colonizers, refugee status, and they're expected to land in the U.S. on Monday. So today they're coming. And guess what? She posted this yesterday. What are the odds, guys? What are the odds? 3 sources with knowledge on the matter have told NPR. The sources did not want to be named out of fear of losing their job. Hey, makes sense. I don't blame them. They're saying that they chartered a plane for these people, okay? They chartered a plane, okay? There's emails confirming the plan, and they're also going to put them in housing, guys. And that's the other thing. Y'all don't want to give money to these illegals. Hey, I get it. You don't want resources, you don't want food stamps, but we're giving money to these people. The hypocrisy. We're going to put them up in hotels. We're going to give them food stamps. They're coming here, and they're coming for our American farms. So get ready. If you're a farmer, you better figure out if they're coming to buy yours out. Maybe it's the time to sell, because I'm sure they want the farms. The Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security said that they cut aid to South Africa because they're upset about the unrest, racial discrimination, which honestly I have found no actual evidence other than mouth play regarding this. There's going to be a press conference planned for their arrival at Dulles Airport, which is in DC. So I guess at any time, I haven't heard about the press conference. Y'all know about it, let me know. But these are the states that they're being taken to: Alabama, California, Idaho, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, New York, Nevada, North Carolina, and Iowa. All farming towns. All majority are farming. Idaho's farming, Montana's farming, North Carolina's farming, Iowa's farming. So predominantly farming places they're taking these to. Several of the people granted refugee status say they have family ties in the U.S. Well, great. At least their family can take care of them. The source noted it is unusual for refugees to be welcomed at the airport by U.S. dignitaries and said the process of interviewing them in South Africa was unusually quick. Okay. So God forbid that we allowed a criminal here. And I call them racist for a reason, because they are, I'm sure they're racist. You think if they didn't like their brothers, their African brothers, and didn't get along with them, you think they're going to get along with the blacks here? Come on now, think about it. But again, Black conservatives support anything that goes against their interests. So hence why Laverne probably wrote that. Hence, she's not affected, unfortunately, like the average Black person or the average poor farmer that will be affected by this. So, hey, who cares? What does she care about? What do they care about? But this is what these people do. They're grifters, a lot of them. I'm not saying necessarily she is, but a lot of people on the right and the left, a lot of these people that have these far right views that, push these talking points, push this extremism, they are grifters. They're doing this for a check. It doesn't affect her. It doesn't benefit her, or it doesn't hurt her. This hurts Americans. This hurts farmers. This hurts everyday Black people, because who knows how they're going to treat them. Also, we don't, again, going back to them rushing the background process and why I say it hurts people. We don't know. They could have been convicted of hurting a African or a Black African there, and they're racist. And we're bringing them here, and they could be murderers. They could be rapists. They could be a lot of things. And we're just, hey, open the door because you claim you're experiencing white racism. So let's bring them here. This is my problem with that. There was no vetting, okay? And I believe in the 80-20 rule. I still support Trump. Don't take that from me. But I'm calling it out because it's putting Americans at risk. The same things we are saying we were angry for with the Hispanic refugees and the Hispanic asylum seekers. It's the same thing here. It's really it's really funny because it's a hypocrite. It's a bunch of hypocrites at this point. You're questioning the fact that that we don't know who's coming through the border. Okay, so we don't know these people because we rushed the vetting process. We didn't take the time to vet these people, and that's my issue with this. So yeah, guys. I'm taking calls. I'm going to stay on for another 5 minutes and I'm wrapping up. 407-602-8114. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, call me. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you guys think. Maybe you don't agree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. But this is my concerns. I'm really America first. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to play this last clip while we wait for anyone to call in. This clip explains the farming crisis because I think it's important to talk about, so I can show you why I'm so against this.
Farm Progress Show, this year in Decatur, Illinois, is one of the largest farming exhibitions in the world. It's where manufacturers and suppliers show off their latest products and equipment. It's a starting point for farmers researching what big-ticket items are available to make their work in the fields more efficient and easier. But all farmer Jeff Fisher can do at the John Deere exhibit is look.
$250,000 list price for this planter, and this is just a medium-sized planter. I'm interested in a planter a notch below this planter. The commodity prices aren't high enough to be able to afford it.
It's been over 5 years since Fisher's been able to afford new equipment. That was the last time he made a profit.
We're losing money where cost of production is higher than the price of corn on the Chicago Board of Trade and our local price.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports median net farm income in 2016 was the lowest since 2009, but projects a modest increase overall for 2017. But the year-over-year hardship for many U.S. farmers has affected more than just the agricultural industry.
The Equipment Manufacturers Association released some pretty dismal numbers for farm equipment sales, and what that means to the Caterpillar and Deere, that's troublesome.
Tamara Nelson is the Senior Director of Commodities for the Illinois Farm Bureau. She says a decline in equipment sales affects manufacturing jobs that depend on farmers like Fisher buying new equipment.
If a farmer cannot afford to buy this, then those 25 workers that work to make it, and the steel workers who produce the steel, and all of the people involved in the parts, they are not going to have jobs either. And so farmers need to have good markets, just as manufacturers need to have good markets.
Mark Bremer grows corn and soybeans on his southern Illinois farm and also raises livestock. Like Fisher, he's also getting by using old equipment to make ends meet.
We would love to update. We'd love to purchase new technology and stuff, but that technology comes with a price. They didn't develop for free.
Bremer isn't sure when he'll be able to afford new equipment and is worried about the crop yield this year due to lack of rainfall.
We're not guaranteed.
So yeah, guys, one or two things are going to happen. Maybe it's going to help the farming industry because now we'll have more farmers, or it's going to hurt actual farmers. It might help the people selling the supplies and the crops and things like that, because now there'll be more people to buy it. So, hey, I support President Trump. There's always a big end goal with him. You know, he thinks farther down the line. Sometimes he does things to troll us. Obviously, this is really happening. These people are really coming here. But I think overall, President Trump's doing a great job. This is just one thing I don't agree on. Gases have gone down. Prices have gone down. I hear the pharmaceutical drug thing that's about to come out is going to be huge. I'm excited about that. So yeah, guys, let me know your closing thoughts. If you caught the restream, comment below. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Go follow me on Nora Christine Live on YouTube if you're watching this on X. And God bless. I hope you have a great Monday. And bye, everyone. See you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on X and on the YouTube at The New Party. I'll be live streaming with The New Party. Tomorrow night, we are going to talk about the pharmaceutical drug cuts. We'll also talk about the Trump's Middle East tour. So definitely want to check that out. Thanks, guys.